This is One-on-One. Welcome back to this very special edition of One-on-One at the home of Angelica Berry. I want to introduce our final guest, Gary Oppenheimer, is founder and executive director of AmpleHarvest.org. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to see you.
You won one of the Berry Awards in 2011.
Yes.
And let folks know exactly what your organization is.
AmpleHarvest.org is a nationwide initiative that enables millions of people who grow food in their home gardens, often too much for themselves to use, to be able to find a local food pantry in their neighborhood to donate the food to. So it reduces hunger, reduces malnourishment, and it helps the environment all at the same time without any cost to anybody.
It's interesting because of all the years we've been doing this. It's the 17th, as I said before, the 17th year that the Berry Awards have taken place up at Ramapo College. In 2013, it's the 17th anniversary. The expression is no food left behind.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I borrowed that from President Bush.
Yeah, no child left behind,
yes.
right?
Yes. The idea is that we waste a massive amount of food in this country. 40% of the food in the country is not consumed. That's from a recent report from the National Resource Defense Council. People are hungry in the community. People are malnourished in the community. We're moving food from across the country to get into the community. And meanwhile, it's growing in the community. The idea is that to use that food and get it to the people instead of letting it go to waste.
But here's the thing. I remember when you were when you won this award, I was saying, let me read this again. I'm trying to understand exactly what they do. You don't move food. You actually move information instead of food.
Yes.
Explain that. So give people an example, because a lot of food is being wasted.
A massive amount of food is being wasted. What very simply happens is this. It's very common for somebody to grow food. They're growing tomatoes or zucchini at the end of the season. They just have far more than they can use. My wife at one point would let me bring more in the house. You're going to let it rot in the garden, and meanwhile, down the street, there's somebody who's fallen on hard times. They can't feed their family. They're going to a food pantry. They're only getting processed food made with salt and sugar in it, which is not good for their health. And you've got this food freely available. You don't know about their problem. They don't know you have the food. You give it to the food pantry in the community. They're going to the food pantry in the community to get the assistance. Your food is helping your neighbors in need.
But your organization does what?
We connect the dots.
How? Give people how. Right now, they're watching. They're looking at your website right now. They go on your website. What do they find? They're
finding a place where they can put in their zip code, and up comes a listing of the food pantries in their community.
You're kidding.
6,000 almost are on the system right now in
Hold
all
on.
50 states.
Let me get this straight. I just saw this statistic. I want you to help us understand this.
Certainly.
6,000 food pantries registered online.
Right. That's 1 out of 6 in America so far. That's what we've done in about 4 years. We have a lot more work to do. There's just a massive amount of food. People want to give the food. They want to help their neighbors. They don't want the food wasted. They want their community improved. We can't keep on counting on Washington or Trenton to help us. The solution to hunger is in your backyard. We are allowing people to reach into their backyards instead of their back pockets to help their neighbors in need. And it's spreading globally. With our assistance, it's now being replicated in other countries.
What's interesting, by the way, tell folks, before I plug you, by the way, First Lady Michelle Obama plugged these guys, but before the First Lady acknowledged your organization, you were acknowledged in 2011 by the Russell Berry Foundation, right?
Yes.
Berry Foundation. Tell folks what that meant for your organization.
It was an honor. It was actually a particularly important time for us because as a small organization with a very innovative and novel solution, it's very hard to get things moving the way you want in a world where most charities are doing things in a more staid way. It enabled us to make changes in the website, enabled us to make changes in PR and changes in the technology, and we actually enabled us to do what was necessary to get a grant from Google quadrupled from $10,000 to $40,000 a month of free advertising. Our prime mission is to educate, encourage, and enable people to donate food from their gardens to food pantries, and the big muscle that the internet has provides that. Getting that heft from Google, which was really enabled in large part by this grant.
From the Berry Foundation.
From the Berry Foundation. This stepping stone brought us to the point where we have now actually enabled 40 million people in this country to be the heroes in their own community, each of them reducing diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, and food waste.
So it's so interesting when you won the award, and by the way, what was it like for you that day up at Ramapo with all the other winners?
I was awed by the people I was surrounded with, to be very honest. And it was also wonderful. Mayor Cory Booker was the speaker.
He was our keynote speaker that year.
Yes, he was. And he had spoken in his speech about the Fair Housing Committee. That was something that helped him get to where he was. And as he was speaking about that, I was thinking, in the 1960s in Yonkers, New York, my mother worked for Fair Housing to help African Americans in Yonkers. It was a nice coming together.
All comes together. So you get that award. That parlays into the Google thing, and then plug this for us. Michelle Obama, her book, American Grow, the story of the White House kitchen garden and gardens across the country. Your organization's plugged in here.
I had the honor of meeting the President and First Lady last year. Michelle Obama's kitchen garden, which is where she's growing a lot of food for the White House. The excess food goes to food pantries, is right in line with what the White House initiative is. So we've had a very close working relationship with the White House. And actually, I'm back in Washington this weekend for the inauguration for Ample Harvest.org being promoted on the mall.
Gary, I would be remiss if I did not ask you to do this. For people watching who say, again, all right, that's nice that Gary's doing that. That's terrific. You know, no food left behind. He's doing this terrific work. He was recognized by the Berry Foundation for making a difference. But I don't know anyone who's doing anything like that. What would you say to people who we're asking right now to nominate someone who's making a difference? What would you say to them right now? We're looking for nominations. What would you say?
I think people make a difference all around you, and you have to look at what they're doing. They are not obvious necessarily in what they're doing, but if you look at the impact, you know, a single pebble in the pond makes a massive number of ripples. You may not even see the pebble, you'll just see the ripples. You should go through your community and look for those ripples, go back to the source. There's probably a person there who would be a really good candidate.
You're confident of that?
Yeah.
Well, Gary Oppenheimer, who is the founder and executive director of ampleharvest.org, we are proud to have you with us at Angelica Berry's home, and I'm glad that you won that award in 2011. You're doing a very good job of making the most of that award, I got to tell you, for your organization, but more importantly for the people you serve. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege and an honor.
Make sure you nominate somebody who is making a difference in the lives of other people. You'll be glad you did. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Johnson & Johnson, Health First New Jersey, TD Bank, the Russell Berry Foundation, and by Community Education Centers. Promotional support provided by The Record, North Jersey's trusted source, and NorthJersey.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.